Morning, everybody. So, this morning we're going to have a little bit quicker of a video because I just kind of want to run you guys through a little warning about what's coming, what's likely to happen, a little prediction segment, if you will. Op ed: why all 50 states need to allow teens to get vaccinated without parental consent. Long before Americans began clamoring for a novel coronavirus vaccine, a collection of teens across the nation was embarking on a quest for vaccination by posing questions on Reddit. Teenagers with anti vax parents were and still are desperately trying to figure out how to get vaccinated, but outdated laws in many states deny them agency. It's outdated to tell a person under the age of 18 to tell a teenager, period, what they can and can't do. Listen, we all know the joke about millennials being irresponsible, being, well, just being millennials. I'm an older millennial. I'm probably not as responsible as I should be. But if you told me as a teenager that it was my choice whether or not I could do X, Y, and Z in my rebellious years, I wouldn't understand the consequences of doing or not doing something. I wouldn't understand the far reaching effects. I was busy doing teenager things like trying to figure out how to drink more and smoke cigarettes and whatever else I was doing that was stupid instead of doing what I was supposed to be doing. But this goes to a bigger thing. It goes to a bigger thing. You're taking parents out of the equation. You're pushing the responsibilities of the parents onto the state. How do I know this? Well, yesterday, I believe this was yesterday, make that 4 days ago now. DC Council approves bill allowing children to get vaccinations without parental consent. Yes, in DC, they have approved a bill that will allow children to be vaccinated. I assume what this means is that when your kid shows up for school, the school nurse is just going to be like, oh, let's check out your vaccine record. Let's do that. And then update said vaccine record based on what they need with or without your consent. Maybe you need an exemption, maybe they exist, maybe they don't. But it's important that you allow parents to make that decision. That's my position on that. But the state is taking over. The government is taking over that parental responsibility. Why? I think it has something to do with the coronavirus. And I think there's two places where this goes. Number one, they're going to remove the option to be anti-coronavirus vaccine for whatever reason. I don't know what that reason is. I can't fathom what the reason is. Maybe it's to force an end to this pandemic. Maybe it's to remove parental rights even further. I don't know. I really don't. But it's a dangerous precedent, and it's being set prior to the coronavirus vaccine being approved. And I believe it points to, a very dark future, a very dystopian future, where you don't have control of what happens to your children. Not 100% at least. And in this case, it's promoting a reliance on government that I don't agree with. I don't think the government should decide whether or not my kid gets vaccines. I don't want to give my kid the coronavirus vaccine for a little while at least. I want to stop and see what it's going to be. Why? Why do I want to take that time? Why do I want to continue to expose my at risk kid to further coronavirus risk? Well, This is part of it. Doctors say the CDC should at least warn people about the side effects from a COVID vaccine and that the shots won't be a walk in the park, much like the flu shot, right? I know a lot of people, and I'm one of those people. When I get a flu shot, I'm sick for a couple of days after I get it. Apparently, that's normal. Your immune system kicks up to fight off the dead virus, and you get the symptoms. A lot of people experience this. The CDC must be transparent about the side effects people may experience after getting their first shot of the COVID vaccine, doctors urged during a meeting. Dr. Sandra Freihofer said that both Pfizer and Moderna's COVID 19 vaccines require 2 doses, and she worries whether her patients will come back for a second because of potentially unpleasant side effects. Do we think that teens will consider the side effects of a vaccine? Do you think that teens who you're trying to give permission, trying to give authority rather, to make these decisions on their own, do you think they'll make the proper decision here? What about kids? If you give a kid a coronavirus vaccine without parental consent and they get sick, and then you send them home for a couple of days, bring them back and do it again, without parental consent, what are you expecting the parents to do? Where do you expect them to go? Like, how much further do you want to go with this? You're making kids sick and then sending them home to the parents to be taken care of. Is it all in the name of better good? I'm sure the idea is to eliminate this with the least amount of lost life possible. I'm sure that's the place this comes from. Well, it goes further, though. It goes further. We're going to go to Snopes for this one. I don't normally like to use Snopes, and this comes from August 11th. Could people be jailed or fined for refusing the COVID 19 vaccine? True. As governments fight the COVID 19 pandemic, blah, 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 individual U.S. states would be legally authorized to impose criminal penalties on individuals who refuse to undergo a mandatory COVID 19 vaccine. Snopes, left-leaning fact-checking site Snopes, is rating this as true. So there's some truth to it. And how do we know that this is where things are going? Boise, Idaho, November 23rd. People who refuse to wear a mask could be arrested. That's right. We're there. One step away. How long before they tell us that if you don't get the coronavirus vaccine, you'll be jailed? That your children don't have a choice. The government says it. Your consent is not required. We are giving your children the COVID vaccine. Social media will indoctrinate teenagers, of course. And then the schools will just take over and do it anyway. Things are getting pretty dystopian, boys and girls. It's a pretty bad future that we're looking at. And I don't know how many people will sit back and allow this to happen. I really don't. One thing's for sure. Whatever happens, be prepared. And I'm going to wrap this up by saying this. I don't encourage violence. I'm not going to encourage violence. And I'm not going to encourage people to take up arms or anything like that. But If you enjoy the content, you want to stay up on the news, and you're like me, you guys might want to follow the Facebook page link below and join the group, the Facebook group that is attached to said page. Because I'm thinking, once I get moved out of this giant city, maybe maybe starting my own militia would be a good thing. Who knows? If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, share. That's the most important thing you guys can do to help really spread this around. I'll talk to y'all soon. Have a great day.